And for us professional couch referees, what explain us what happened in the 9th round? What that moment? What was that moment? Just explain what you seen, because you're the professional. We're the couch potato.
It was a great round, of course, for Usyk, but it was a high, boxing, every fight can be a high stress environment. Mm-hmm. It was a good competitive fight. And up till the 9th round, even in the 9th round, Fury he got hit a few times. Usyk missed a couple times. I think he was overwhelmed. So he was running, bouncing off the top ropes. And then when the last punch happened over in the corner, that's when Fury slumped down into the back of the mat. And basically if a fighter's knocked down, if anything other than the soles of the feet touch the ground, or if they're helpless on the ropes. And what that kind of means is not bouncing off the top ropes, because the ropes are there to keep everyone from falling out. Fighters get hit all the time, and they get staggered and bounce off the ropes, but it's mainly two bottom ropes. If you're in distress and you hit those, that's when the referee's discretion, we can rule it a knockdown. It's not a standing 8 count. We rule it a knockdown, but when they get knocked down and they hit the floor, that's a mandatory 8 count. Mm-hmm. So then they have to pick themselves up and take the count.
Yeah, I noticed you had mentioned that to me when we spoke. I didn't see that fight. I didn't rewatch that part of the fight again, but you said he actually did touch that bottom rope, and that's what made you step in to your discretion and say, that's ruled a knockdown. Let me break this and
I think his knee hit, but his back hit the padding, and it was ruled a knockdown. And it was expressly understood in the dressing room to both fighters that anyone tonight will be considered down if anything other than the soles of their feet touch the canvas from a legal punch. Or if you're helpless on the ropes and they're preventing you from falling from a legal punch, that's a down position. Do not hit your opponent when he's down, especially if they get knocked down and they're down on the canvas. I explained to both of them, do not hit them no matter what. So, that whole 9th round happened so fast. I mean, the momentum was gone. It was a good fight up to, it was a competitive fight. And then when I was moving in and Fury kind of slumped down and hit his back and he kind of went in that position, I almost felt that Usyk kind of pulled back a little, because he didn't want to hit a guy in a down position either. But nevertheless, I ruled it a knockdown. That's what it was. I started the mandatory 8 count, and the timekeeper over there was they announced the count on a microphone, so they're really loud, and that kind of screws the referee up, because they're going 1, 2, and I'm like trying to count, but that's how that timekeeper was handling that.
Mark, I imagine you probably don't visit social media too much, but in all these big fights, not just Fury Usyk, there's always so much talk about, are the judges, are the referee, are they favoring the A side fighter, the bigger economic draw, the star, however you want to put it. And, like Shawn, I thought you handled the Fury Usyk, for what it's worth, the knockdown perfectly, because there was a lot of gray area until he finally did slump into that corner. And then at that point, it was, clearly a knockdown. But what could you say from, your experiences to kind of just dispel that stuff for boxing fans, that there's this sentiment and thought that, the A side guy is going to get more breaks from the referees, going to get more breaks from the judges and all of that?
I think sometimes it just looks that way, but I've told officials in seminars that I've instructed and other people, and I told both fighters in the dressing room, I don't care who wins tonight. I said, what I do care about is you. I'm here for the welfare and the safety of you and your families. That's my role. And, I'm refereeing for my career. I don't care who wins a fight. I'm hoping to do a good job, and be successful where they appreciate my work. But, it doesn't matter what we make as a decision, and officials, half the people are going to be happy with us. Half the people aren't going to be happy with us. Now, let's say the Fury-Usyk fight. Let's say Fury, or not names, let's say a different fight, same scenario. The fighter is just losing every round. And in the 3rd round, he's taken, Shawn, damaging punishment, like hard punches. And they're not winning like 30 seconds of any round. And then every single round, they're just taking damaging punches, and the refs kind of, boy, I wish he would go down or something. And then he hits the ropes like Fury did. Instantly, that would be over.
Yeah,
referee has to, we train hard. We want to do exactly what's right. We want the right fighter to win. That's the ultimate goal, that the right fighter wins the match. And, things can happen just like that in a world championship fight like that. So you just got to be careful, go by what your training is. And, it could be a developing referee that if you work that fight, he might have got scared or something and stopped it right away. But yeah. I don't know.
I felt like that's how I felt watching it. And even my wife, she said, why did he step in and count? Shouldn't he have waved it off? I said, listen, if he had waved it off, we still got a great fight happening right now. We wouldn't be watching this if he had waved it off. I feel like a lot of referees in that same position would have just jumped in and waved off the fight. You have to be able to think very fast, understand and consider this is a close fight. Understand and consider nobody's really had the upper hand until this moment right here. And the best thing I can do is let this play itself out. And you found a moment right there that I think a lot of referees would not have found. And ultimately, I think fight fans, the boxing world won that night, including yourself, Mark, because, there's a lot of gray area in this sport. And it's because of the way the sport is built. And even to the point of last week, I explained, listen, this is what Mark Nelson did. This is what the ruling is. But most people that watch boxing don't know the rules. They think that they know the rules until something happens that they're not used to seeing. And then they're in the gray, So I said, you know what? Let me have Mark Nelson come on. And of course, congratulate him for doing such a terrific job on Fight Night, but also allow him to explain the ruling in that situation, because it was a unique fight. That was a unique circumstance, and it took a unique individual like yourself to handle it.
Oh, it was definitely a privilege to get the phone call that I would be doing that, and I'm still a little numb from the whole scenario. I mean, not scenario, but the whole assignment. And it was truly a privilege of doing a world heavyweight, especially a unification fight. I tell people it was the greatest night of my life. It really was.